leg. Do you have a problem with that?
No, sensei.
No cheat codes. It's January 12th, everybody, 2017. Welcome to episode 121 of the Cheat Codes Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We're always glad to have you with us. The next hour is us drinking a few beers, going over our favorite bits from the past week in video game tech and pop culture news. We're coming to you from the Cobra Kai Dojo. We study the way of the fist. Mercy is for the weak, and failure doesn't exist here. My name is Joe Erskine, and I am your host. I'm here with Cheat Codes producer and editor, Mr. Joe Johnny Arroyo.
Sweep the leg!
Cheat Codes core panelist, Mr. Nikk Dutch Golesh.
Oh.
That's twice. Yeah. Twice in a row. And Stellar J Devs and returning guests, Corey Bonsai McDaniel and Ted Mr. Miyagi Wilson.
Wax on, wax off!
Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. On this episode, we'll forge our mom's signature on a waiver to compete in the California karate tournament to sort out the following. League of Legends has a very interesting toxicity problem with one of its best players. YouTube will roll out a way to pin your chat comments to the top if you're willing to pay because nothing is sacred anymore. And the argument for 32-bit retro games has come up, so we'll argue it, as you do. And for the lightning round, we'll catch a pesky fly in midair with chopsticks. To make sense of these bits, Twitch showcases an existential crisis between two Google Home devices. Yeah. And is there hope with the prospect of the Uncharted movie, everybody? We're gonna find out, I guess. Mr. Wilson, Mr. McDaniel, welcome back, sirs. Thank you so much for being here. I don't know. What the fuck is happening? How are you? What's going on? Tell us all about Kaboing Kaboom, government grants and European marketing, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us back, guys. Good to be here. So Kaboing Kaboom is our latest game. We dove into mobile for the first time ever, so it's sort of it's a new thing for us. We've never tried it before. So we're working on this game, Kaboing Kaboom. It's basically like Peggle meets Pachinko meets exploding pets. So it's
beautiful.
Something for everybody. So
I like the third bullet point the most.
Exploding pets. Yeah, it's good.
Pets. Yeah, so it's an idea actually that started back in I guess it was late 2014. So we've been kicking this thing around. It started as a pitch for Nickelodeon. We do a lot of service work, creating licensed games for Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, and that's sort of our way to keep the lights on.
Sure.
And they didn't quite jive with the idea, but we thought there was something to it, so we took it away and kept working at it, and like you say, there was an opportunity for us to get a government grant. So we didn't really know much about that process either. So we put something together, sort of a lot of the character designs we've been working on and sort of description of the game and the classic stuff, how much money we think it'll take and who's part of our team and what we've done in the past, our track record, and sent it off and crossed our fingers basically. So I think that was in November of 2014. 14? No, the years go by so fast.
I don't remember. I can't remember what I did yesterday.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. So it was actually 2015. We sent it off in November 2015, and we just sort of kept picking away at our other projects, and then finally, in end of March, I think it was, of 2016, they called us up, and they strung me along as long as they could on the phone. Like, we got a lot of applicants, and it's been really tough deal this year. And I'm like, And then she's like ruffling around with her paper. She's like, and we got your project, and we're happy to report you guys received an application, and you've been approved.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh my God. So Corey had just left, so I ran down the stairs and slammed into the parking lot and jumped in front of his car before he left. We got it!
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's a great moment. Oh, it's fantastic.
Congratulations.
Yeah, seriously. And it's funny because, backstory a little bit, we were having some technical difficulties, and while we were trying to get this sorted out, we all downloaded Kaboing Kaboom on our phones, and we were playing in the meantime. emergent gameplay. That's all I'm gonna say. Emergent gameplay. Okay.
And those adorable cheeks.
Yeah, there's a lot. I already unlocked like 4 pets. Like, it's amazing. It's crushing.
Yeah, we basically try. It's really a lot of our background is animation, and we sort of skewed the game pretty young for like families and younger kids, and sort of like I said, we'd never really done anything like this before, so we were trying to keep stuff relatively simple for us to learn the process of how all this mobile game stuff works, because there's a lot of psychology behind it. Like, you can
Absolutely, there is.
Yeah, so there's a lot of companies in town that's basically their bread and butter. They're mobile game companies here in Vancouver, and they've got guys who their whole gig is just studying the analytics and figuring out the best way to engage people. And we focus more on the chubby cheeks and the exploding pets.
I think you might be onto something. That's all I'm saying. I think you might be onto something. That's
Cool,
good stuff.
thanks, Ed.
No, absolutely. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. Very quickly, let's talk about what we're washing the episode down with. Podcasting is like being a teenager in high school. It's a cliquey war with douchey jocks. Okay. So to alleviate some of this angsty post-pubescent bullshit, we're going to blast some Joe Esposito and karate chop open a couple of beer bottles on the first try. Those beer bottles happen to contain some Lagunitas brown sugar ale. It's good. Almost as good as our crane kick. You know what I'm saying?
Yummy.
All right. Cheers, gentlemen. Yeah. All right. Should we get down to business? Brass tacks here, gentlemen?
Number 1.
All right. Everyone knows that the most major MOBAs out there have a huge barrier of entry. Part of that barrier is based on the fact that experienced players often let you know when you're, well, not necessarily very good at the game. Brass tacks, there's a lot of shit talking going on. What happens when that shit talking comes out of one of the game's best players, though? I could go on, but honestly, strap in for one of the most unique trolling stories of all time. This is pretty epic.
This is a tough one because you have to.
There's so much backstory.
Do you need
I know.
To give?
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna run it down as quickly as I possibly can.
Rock and roll.
There's a guy whose, I guess, main name, or at least the one he broadcasts under, is called Tyler One. He plays a single League of Legends character called Draven, almost exclusively. He gets real fucking salty when he gets banned, or when his character gets banned, or is chosen by other players, and then he makes it really difficult for those players that the team he's on to win, because he basically just forfeits the match. It's a tough character to play. One of the lowest ranked League of Legends players. For anybody out there who knows how this works,
He's not tiered high.
he's just not tiered high. And what? I don't know. The dude is one of the best players, not only with this character, but in League of Legends across the board, right? Like top 1% worldwide, perhaps.
Yeah, I
more.
saw something pretty high. It was
the top 30 or something.
Yeah, it was.
Dude
yeah,
dude knows what he's doing. Yeah. Like straight up, and with one of the shittiest characters.
He
across,
only
right?
plays this character too, so like he's not ranked with anybody else. Just
this guy, right? So, long story short, he throws tantrums when he doesn't get what he wants effectively, and that's the character that he plays with. And he's gotten himself banned up to 22 times, I believe, at this point. And then effectively just gets another username
Makes
or whatever, right? And makes a new account, goes back in, and then works his way back up, like multiple times up the charts, using the same character, and has now made himself identifiable by those kind of standards, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the crux of the problem with him is that he is so good that when he does this, he's actually griefing players that are professional, that are Riot devs,
Riot employees.
And
when you get that good, you play the same people over and over.
Correct, and then they notice him and stuff like that. Right. But what sucks the most is he's one of the first players to ever be banned as a person instead of a character, in that if they ever detect that the character that he's playing
bad.
Right, if they ever detect that the character that's playing roots back to him, they'll immediately ban it. He's one of the few people that's happened to. But here's where we can start the discussion. Right. It is that in the act of them doing that in the first place,
he got more popular.
Skyrocketed his account.
Right.
And now his streaming account has some of the most viewers than it ever did before, because he just keeps creating a new account and everybody wants to watch him be toxic.
Mm-hmm. Effectively. And even though he's billing himself as reformed at this point, and he's like lobbying with Riot to try and get his shit back, reinstated.
So quickly around the horn. I mean, I'll actually start with you guys.
Yeah, Ted and Corey.
I think
Is
you
it an
just
oops? Did Riot screw up?
Well, I think you just described exactly how Donald Trump got elected.
Yeah.
A troll. They want to see someone sort of overthrow the system. That sort of that Robin Hood thing, sticking a finger in the eye of the man. So I can understand why people sort of are rooting for this guy, just to sort of tip the cart a little bit.
Do you think that like if they hadn't banned him, he wouldn't have gained that type of popularity in the first place?
Probably not. Yeah, I think it would sort of it's that Streisand effect, right? If
Nice. Yes. Oh my God.
If you don't call attention to something that's going wrong, people wouldn't even know it was going wrong. So they definitely sort of they boosted his profile quite a bit by doing that, I think.
It's a tough problem. Like, this is absolutely one of those, like, they're on the forefront of something, not only being like this kind of like cutting edge multiplayer game that's online, but at the same time, like, I mean, trolling and all that shit has been a problem for a while now. But I feel like this is the kind of thing that nobody anticipated, right?
So,
like,
I want to clarify what his trolling is, I guess. Like, from what I read, it's not necessarily like derogatory comments against people, but it's mostly him feeding and ending games or wasting time of players if he doesn't get the way he wants.
Correct. And the thing that makes it crazier is that he is very, very good. Mm-hmm. And so what he used to do was, it was just his actual personality, that he would play this game and he'd be great and he would stream it. And then when he didn't get his way, he would be a giant, like, jerk.
Yeah.
And then he realized that was after he got banned and people started watching his stream because of it, that the toxicity was the thing that people liked the most. Mm-hmm. So he started just being a jerk, but still being good. And then when he didn't get his way, he'd go off the charts, making his team miserable.
No one's going to deny that the kid knows how to play the fucking game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's like ridiculously good at it. So good, in fact, that when he started making money, dropped out of college to just stream full time.
So now he's a full-time streamer because of his toxicity.
Because of the toxicity problem.
Well, my question is, like, why don't as long as I'm not familiar with his trolling, but, like, if he's not being, like, hateful or racist or anything like that, why doesn't the company that makes LOL sort of embrace the meme a little bit and just sort of use that? Because if you think about, like, I was going to make a comparison to WWF or WWE, but I mean, that's like all staged or whatever. But for them to ban the guy, and he's obviously, you know, helping the company spread the word of their game, which is what they want to do, right?
Yeah.
It seems kind of odd that they would ban him. If he's just sort of trolling, but not being super hateful, then why wouldn't they just sort of be like, I don't know.
Well, there is.
Go ahead. Part of it comes down to control too. If he really is that good, and he can just crush people when he wants to, that's the sort of guy they want on their team, or at least playing like on official sponsored teams, right? If they got this sort of rogue dude out there who's that good and can crush opponents.
This is exactly how the Republican Party thought about Trump. Just so you know. Yeah.
Oh no. Okay. Well, to be specific
you just hire him.
To be specific about this situation, though, he is a player that no professional team wants to play with because he has no.
Yeah, he's gone so far as to grief them.
Yes.
As well.
Everybody has like a personal grudge against him.
Yes, and to be absolutely specific, I would say that the reason why they are banning him is because he is doing this in ranked play with some of the top players, and when he doesn't get his way, he literally does grief them to ensure that his entire team loses. So you have
call it inting.
A bunch of people who, it's called inting. It's what he does is he equips himself with things that give players buffs if they kill him, and then he runs into the fray over and over again and gets killed. And it causes them to get like all the gold they need, and then they rank up super quick, and then they end the match. And the problem with it is that even if there are no other players on the other end, a League of Legends match can last like 15 minutes just to get to the next.
It's 20 minutes just to surrender. You have to play the game for 20 minutes before you can even quit.
So these are ranked players in the top ranked game, wasting 20 minutes of their time and destroying their rank because of some dick who knows that streamers are watching him.
Pretty fucking epic. The guy is just playing that system.
That's brutal.
Yeah, I thought it was just like he's shit talking, but if he's trolling through gameplay and it's a professional match, that could be. I could see why they would want to support.
Yeah. Like it went from being a guy who was really good and just kind of shit talked a little bit, but then when he didn't get his way, he would do this whole inting thing.
He'd have a fucking tantrum. Yeah.
And it turned into a thing where now he just like he's totally toxic.
He's just parlayed that into a fucking career now.
Correct.
Effectively.
Well, here's the thing. Like, even if they needed to get behind this guy to like promote their game, I can't even imagine that situation. The game is the most played game on the planet, pretty much.
Yeah.
And they don't need any publicity to sell it, so they don't need this guy for anything.
That's the other thing.
But now he's hurting them.
He's not hurting them. There's plenty of people who still play the game. There's still
publicity
over
to some
50 million people that play the game like daily. So it's.
Isn't he kind of a dumbass? Like, if you... Sorry, I'm not totally, like...
No, this is good. Like, a fresh take on this, for sure.
But, like, if... From what I remember, I installed League of Legends, and I poked around for about 15 minutes, and I was like, nope!
Yep. That sounds like me. Yeah.
There's, like, 100 characters, right?
Mm-hmm. Probably.
So, isn't it pretty dumb to specialize in just one character? Like,
yes.
But that's the thing that I think infuriates everybody about this guy is that character's not so shit hot, and he's still just
one of the best.
Fucking steamrolling people. He's steamrolling Riot employees as well as professional players with this one shitty character. The guy's like that good. Like that's the infuriating problem with this is that the guy's fucking talented.
He's playing like the best character too. The character's Draven or Draven. And they one of his like special is like League of Draven or something, and like he gets points for killing more people, and he's all about showboating. So like he's just
he's kind of a troll.
He's a gladiator. He's not a troll character. He doesn't have trolly moves, but
no.
His personality is very much showboaty.
Yeah. It's showing off. I guess not trolling. Yeah.
I'm not sure there's a solution to this problem yet, though.
To make this that much more fun, when you get up into the ranking tiers that he climbs up to every single time he plays,
22 times.
The moment it's kind of great. The moment that you play any ranked match above a certain level and someone picks Draven, everyone assumes that it's him. Like, because no one picks this character.
Right.
The actual players aren't like announced in the.
They are, but he's creating fake accounts.
When you create,
he just kind of keeps like rolling himself back. Even though
when they see someone pick Draven, they're just like, "Oh, it's this guy."
Probably
again.
Tyler One.
Must be Tyler One.
Yeah.
There's probably that one other guy that's really good at Draven that his whole career is getting fucked right now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he keeps getting banned, and he's like, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
I'm not him. I swear.
I was hoping that maybe we would come up with some sort of like brilliant solution to this problem, but like ultimately, it's more just like appreciating the fact that this is.
Does something need to be done about this?
I'm not sure what can be done.
Well, no. That's not what I asked. I asked, does something need to be done about this?
Maybe not. I think this is a lesson in the good old tipping point theory, which is like when something boils over and it tips, you have to accept that. And a large part of the tipping point is luck, and when it occurs, you just kind of gotta accept the outcome.
Not to drag the topic out longer. I guess I was more curious about like, is what he's doing something that shouldn't be in the League of Legends community because they already have a problem with toxicity. So something should be done about this, and he should just be banned or continue to be banned as is.
And that's ultimately what Riot tried to do was by banning him was to do something. But this weird backlash of like him getting more popular and still showing up was not what they anticipated.
I understand. At some point, they'll be able to like ban his account instantly. They'll get to that at some point, I believe.
Eventually, maybe. Sure.
But it's just
surprised they don't have some sort of like IP sniper bot who can spot him instantly without even working.
No, they probably do, but that kind of stuff's like illegal typically, so you can't really act on that. But it's
they watch him. At this studio, for a fact they're like, we already know Tyler's new account.
This motherfucker
we have to wait till he violates the terms.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, let's just watch Tyler do his thing.
It's just,
and it's probably entertaining as fuck while they're watching because he's fucking super good. So they're like, this is amazing, and now you're banned.
Well, I just think it's funny. Like here we are talking about this great troll and almost praising him in a sense, and in other episodes we've been like, oh, trolling's a big problem in gaming communities. I'm not
praising him, not at all.
I don't know. None of us are really saying anything terribly bad about him. I mean, we're all kind of against.
He's an asshole. Yeah. If you want something terrible to be said about, he's a dick, for straight up.
But we're still perpetuating it by talking about this topic, like to
a certain degree.
So on that note, let's move on to the next topic.
Okay.
Number 2. Fucking A.
You like that segue?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Do
you guys ever heard of Daniel from SL?
Oh, please. You know what?
This is new.
Trolling sucks for the people who are getting trolled, but I am.
If it's not ranked, you guys should check out Daniel from SL. The Rust experience, and it's just hilarious. You got to see it for yourself, and it's a relatively inconsequential troll. So,
but he is a master troll, and it's really funny.
Okay, we'll definitely need to look that up because in Rust everything is a troll.
So you said, I'm sorry, Daniel from SL, yeah.
It's like, do I wear pants or not?
Right.
I don't know if you guys saw the thing during Halloween where a guy was given support from the creators. To teleport to different people's like fortress doors and just knock on each one pretending to trick or treat just to see what they would do, and he just got killed over and over again because it's Rust.
Well, on site for the most part.
Yeah. All right.
Goodness. All right. Number two. YouTube thinks that people should be able to spend money to have their chat comments pinned to the top of a streamer's chat. It's called Super Chat, and it's rolling out shortly.
Super Chat.
So
why is it called high definition chat? Shut up. Or 4K chat.
4K chat. OLED chat. Yeah. So right off the bat, trolls can pay a bunch to have their trolling bullshit pinned to the top as long as it avoids the channel flags and the streamer doesn't catch it, amongst all the other people paying for their pinned comments. Nothing is sacred anymore. Anything for a buck, everybody.
Nothing matters anymore.
It's not. Oh, god damn it.
The world is ending.
It's seriously, right? Like, I fucking hell. YouTube says it's made for viewers 18 and over, which means they already know what's fucking coming.
Yeah.
It's made for 18 and over, and their most popular streamer is for 12-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly. PewDiePie's gonna be like, oh, I gotta flag all this shit. Fuck it, let it ride. Are they straight up troll enabling for a cash grab? Because the streamers will get a large portion of that money, but YouTube will do what I'm sure you guys are experiencing right now with the mobile thing, like Apple and Android. They fucking take their cut too, right? So
absolutely,
it's tough, man.
It's a special, dedicated type of troll that's willing to spend money to troll. So there's a little bit of, I admire that a bit. You know, if you want to spend $5 to draw like a dick emoji, then I think that's kind of funny and cool. So it's, I don't know. YouTube. My philosophy with YouTube is like they're just this giant entity that makes all these changes and sort of
throws everything against the wall, sees what sticks.
Screws over content creators constantly, and you know what? Whatever. That's just how they roll. And
I get that from them. Yeah.
Well, they just rolled out that there's a story today, like to kind of part and parcel to this, that said that like people that stream from home now have to start paying certain taxes or how.
Oh no, it was just in some county in Georgia. Being a YouTuber constitutes running a business in your home, so you're not allowed to do it.
Yeah,
fucking bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
That might be more the state of Georgia than YouTube, but fuck you, YouTube. Come on, get your shit together.
Whole nother topic too. Yeah,
right. But
Georgia just recently got computers. So.
True story. True story, everybody.
I think people are going to be, there's a lot of people out there, not a lot, but I've seen like Twitchers and streamers and YouTube personalities whose their whole goal is to troll the audience. They'll say like, there's those girls who act like ditzes or don't know what's going on and will purposefully, completely misanswer the question they were asked. Or there's guys like Ken M. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ken M. He's
the social media guy. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
Willfully answers questions in the most wrong way you could ever get it. And
right.
If there's an option for those people to sort of troll back to trolls and make a little cash at the same time, more power to them.
I don't have any problem at all.
I don't have a problem with that.
With a troll spending money to be a troll because the way it looks in the chat for everyone else is it's a big like blue icon that shows over the top of the pinned.
It's like a dollar sign on it.
Yeah, and there's a dollar sign on. So it's like I know that this troll
paid money
to do that, so right. I'd be like, what a dummy. That's fine. like the thing is, the best part about it is that the amount of money you spend is proportional to how long it stays pinned, which is great because it's not necessarily proportional to the number of equal signs you put on your fake penis.
Right, okay, fine, but you know what? Like, I feel bad for the legitimate like female streamer who's there, like actually like playing a game or has a good decent following. And all of a sudden the pinned tweet becomes like, "Show me your boobs," and I paid $300 to put it there.
It's there
so
all day.
Nobody's fucking taking that shit down.
24 hours.
Right, like.
What they should do then? They should add a wrinkle where you can. They can vote on the stream, and if everybody bids, a penny a person, you can all vote to knock that thing off.
There you go.
Fight fire with fire.
Well, I'm just kidding.
You're welcome, YouTube. We just solved your problem. You're welcome.
Is there any? Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, why couldn't they implement a system where like it lets the streamer know, like if I paid $100 to some poor female streamer and say, "Show me your tits," it would pop up in her dashboard and say, "This guy wants to pay $200."
Right, there's like a filter, yeah,
and you can say yes or no or something.
I think there is but the point is that a streamer who has a bunch of followers has to, like, if they're getting like inundated with those kind of posts, filtering through all of them at one time while still trying to maintain a stream is probably kind of like cumbersome, right? So it doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. And obviously this is early days. I think the beta starts today. It rolls out officially on the 31st, and like there are going to be a bunch of things to sort out with it.
I just want to say I like that they're presenting the option for people to be able to do that kind of thing if they want. My advice to anybody would be to not subscribe to the service ever. Like, just imagine, like, if somebody came up to me and was like, "Hey, should I do that thing where like people can pay for comments?" I was like, "No, you're not going to get any money from that." Like, how much are people going to pay for a comment? Like $1, $5, maybe $20 or something, and then Google takes 80% of it or something probably, and then you're not going to see it. It's going to be like putting ads on the top of your website for no money. You're going to check for 30 cents every month or something for something.
I know that feeling with Muzak. I've been through this.
This type of thing feels like the thing that Valve would do and then roll back like a month later because they realized that like maybe this wasn't such a good idea. Go ahead.
Well, this is YouTube's cash grab, basically, right?
Yes, that's what it feels like.
I know there's streamers who, if you get a subscription on their Twitch stream, you get like a shout out during the middle of a stream. So, I mean, YouTube is seeing stuff like that and thinking like, hey, how can we get even a piece of that? And they can't do it by intervening directly in those types of things. So they set up this new thing that, like you say, I think will probably backfire on them pretty quickly. And they'll have to roll it back.
That's what it feels like.
I think it's just a cash grab in a way, but I do enjoy that it is a new option for people to experiment with. Like you were explaining, like
let's look
I want to see what somebody else is going to be do. I want to see what someone's going to do with it.
It's a frontier thing, and it's gonna have to like get put through its paces before we figure out how to make it work.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna provide a lot of material.
It's gonna be real fucking dangerous.
I want to see a filter on it that only allows certain words instead of like excluding words. I want to see one that says like, hey, I can only allow if somebody says this thing.
But again, the streamer has to set that up ahead of time. So
that you can get really creative with that. I feel like
sure.
Okay.
I just want to see a lot of emoji dicks.
It'll happen
if you pay the right price. That can happen. I'm just saying.
And if you want to see a lot of them, then you should pay and you should comment yourself.
God damn it! All right.
Number 3.
All right, we found this next bit via Flipboard. That's how we do a lot of our articles for the show, but it comes from www.a90skid.com, a site that was new to me, but then again, I was born in the early 80s. There is an argument to be made that indie devs haven't yet tapped the potential of 32-bit retro games, that it's ripe as a style, much like 8 and 16-bit have for a while now, but in my opinion, no one has been prevented from doing so, so maybe the more interesting question is, why aren't indie devs already doing this? The best points I saw here were ultimately 2 comments at the bottom, and that was it. And I don't necessarily agree with, but they were interesting. The idea that 32-bit era games were an exploration and therefore fundamentally flawed into a new like, development system and a way of like making things happen for games. But wouldn't that mean that we'd have it pretty figured out by now, so that it'd be even a better, more ripe field for developers to dive back into? I'm just asking the question. I'm not saying that that's the accurate thing. But pre-rendered backgrounds, campy voice acting, and general color and fun are his main points for a field already to be ready to be plowed, sowed, reaped, and harvested.
I saw
but the argument remains.
So, you didn't read it correctly, I guess.
Yeah. That's why scripts exist, everybody. Anyway, but so the question stands, right? 18 and 16-bit games have been kind of like done not to death, but have done very well, and in many cases not so well, but in a large volume for a couple of years now to kind of like cash in on that nostalgia thing, and in some cases, like I said, with great effect. But why haven't like the 32 or even 64-bit games like fallen into this category as well? Why has it been such kind of like this untouched thing for the most part?
Because personally, I think there's only like 3 kinds of styles of games or something in a way, almost. Like there's pixelated or pixel sprites, and then there's stylized, and then there's realistic.
Okay.
And maybe that's too broad of a category
I don't think so. I agree.
I don't think it doesn't make sense to do 32-bit games because we were at a point where we were trying to do as realistic as possible. Mm-hmm. And there's so much more like recognition with pixel games or like lower 18-bit, 8-bit, 16-bit or something. Like that's easily recognizable. You go ask somebody, hey, what bit is Tomb Raider 1? What was that made for? Do you know?
PS1, I think.
I played it on the PC.
There you go.
It was 32-bit, but it's still you don't know.
You don't know exactly.
Sure.
What's Final Fantasy 9?
PS1 for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely guess by what it came out with, but you can't tell necessarily from what it looked like. And all those games have been coming out on PC anyways, and they look fine also. I mean, I just don't feel like 32-bit is the right medium for somebody to go back.
Right, I think that whole the statement of like it being like an exploratory kind of thing leaves it in this like weird gray area where people are like, we know what works, we know we've moved beyond that, and maybe that's it. But I don't know, gentlemen, how do you feel about it?
I've seen a few projects. I follow a lot of game developers on Twitter, and I've seen a couple of projects that are definitely trying to nail that aesthetic. And I personally really like that stuff. It's weird that that's a topic because I've been going back and playing a lot of PS1 games, like playing Spyro and mostly the old platformers. And there is
Banjo-Kazooie.
Well, Banjo-Kazooie would definitely count. I think same time period.
You looking forward to ukulele?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. Like I totally miss the happy, colorful platformer days, and they just sort of died off, right? So I think if you're looking at it from like a practical level, like even a PS1 style platformer game like Croc or Banjo-Kazooie or something like that, N64, that's still a lot of work for an indie developer.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the default is sort of, if we stick to a 2D game, it's not as much work and it's not as much stuff to figure out, and we could probably develop that game and release it. But once you move from a 2D flat Super Nintendo game to like a 3D platformer, even if it's really shitty,
like GoldenEye or something, yeah,
it's still a ton of work, right? So,
absolutely,
yeah, definitely.
Plus the danger there too is that like when you see a pixel art game nowadays, you're like, okay, they're going for retro. They know the style they're trying to hit, and they're making it look. Turns out like Owlboy, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
the pinnacle of what you can do with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the danger is if you go back and say like, we're making a 32-bit game, and we're trying to hit this retro style. I think the danger could be like, oh, maybe you're just really shitty at 3D, and you were. It's like,
no, that's exactly how people would treat it. I feel like I think you guys are exactly right. I like your guys' point because it made my point with better
words.
Better words.
You guys use the best words.
Oh, God damn it! Fair enough.
I agree too because I think Nikk definitely summed it up with the idea of where it's like you have your stylized. I mean, at this point, once you go 3D, you're just making a decision as to whether or not you want to stylize it. And I think like Firewatch is actually a good example because it's a fantastic game that was done well. I'm not saying necessarily in the 32-bit, like they weren't shooting for that, but they were shooting for a stylized notion, and all they had to do was make it like a little less in its fidelity, in the fidelity category, and it would be considered
LOD the shit
32-bit whatever.
Yeah,
it wasn't there, but it was close. So what does that even mean at this point? I mean, really, when you make a game, you're choosing 3D or 2D, and you're choosing pixel art or not if you go 2D, and if you go 3D, you're choosing stylized
it's weird,
or
right?
not.
When you
and
start
that's
breaking it down like that, it gets super compartmentalized very quickly, and like there are giant leaps between those compartments.
Well,
it's crazy.
It's hard to say 32-bit and
3D
believe that your audience will understand what the fuck that means.
Well, yeah, that's why I really liked your point in that, like, if you don't intentionally make it stylized, people are going to think that you're just doing shitty graphics. You're just bad at doing games.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to go about it that a lot of people sort of poo-poo the idea of making a game that's very designed around nostalgia, but I actually like that kind of stuff.
I mean,
a good example is Shovel Knight was able to make a pixel art 2D game that just had the feeling of old NES titles.
Yeah, a little bit Castlevania, a little bit Metroid, a little bit Mario. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
A little bit of DuckTales.
They made the conscious decision to keep all the good stuff from that era and remove all the bad stuff. So they introduced, like, in those old games, when you die, you got to start all the way over, and nobody really likes that stuff. So they introduced a system where, I think it was pulled from Dark Souls, where when you die, you lose your shit, but you can get it back.
If you could make it back to where you died. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so a lot of older games are awesome, but there's a lot of really shitty stuff about them too, right? So they just sort of...
Like how hard they were?
Yeah.
True skill games, dude. Straight up, yeah. No, I think you're right. I completely agree, and I 30 like all of it falls into that same category to a certain degree, right? Like 18 and 16-bit stuff has had that been able to capitalize on the nostalgia market, right? So why wouldn't 32 and 62-bit or 64-bit games be able to do the same?
You know what's happening?
However, there is a gap to bridge, regardless, right? So,
you know what's happening?
I think part of it too is, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what's happening to all the 30-bit games that have been coming out they're just being remade, it seems like.
Yeah.
A lot of them are, like, you get new Zeldas. I mean, a new Zelda comes out all the time, but Final Fantasy VII,
it's okay, though, because when we want to see what it should look like, everybody just puts that shit into fucking Unreal Engine for a half a minute, and then we can all see, hey, wouldn't this be so great? And then we forget about it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
So I think part of that is, too, you got to, if you really want to try to hit that 32-bit vibe, you have to sort of go, I don't know if you guys are big Tim and Eric fans, but they have sort of like distilled everything terrible about 90s TV and infomercials and stuff and synthesized it down and jammed it up, made it hilarious. If you're going to try and make a 32-bit game, I think you got to take all those old 90s tropes and just push them all, like ramp those neon triangles up as hard as you can.
A good example of that is a game called Strafe. It's not really... I don't think they're really going for that PS1 thing, but they're going for an early 90s FPS sort of thing, like Quake. Mm-hmm. If you haven't checked out Strafe, you should check it out. It's really cool looking.
There you go.
Nice.
All right. Gentlemen, are we ready to move on? Can we hit up this lightning round? I can hear it sizzling in the background right now.
Sizzling. It's like bacon.
Thunder going in.
No, but well said across the board. I think. I mean, yeah. Again, the ground is ripe. We just got to figure out what we want to do with it. But
what we want to sow.
Yeah, exactly. and rape apparently. And fucking ridiculous. You're a horrible person, Nikk Golesh.
So and rape.
Yeah. All right. Panel, it's time for the lightning round, and here's how it works. We're going to take two quick topics and give most of the members of the panel a minute to chime in, uninterrupted for the most part. I think today we're going to do, due to time constraints, we're going to do 3 out of 5, all right? Which means Ted and Corey will get both rounds, and then we'll
pick one.
One of us
draw straws
to jump in at the same time. If it's me chiming in, Ted and Corey will be responsible for rewarding me points, but ultimately I'll be responsible for rewarding everyone else points. All right.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Topic the A.
Topic the A. What do you get when you cross 2 Google Home Assistants, Twitch, and a couple of chatbots? The singularity, of course, but one having an existential crisis. A user recently set up a few of these assistants and had them start talking to each other. They had names. questioned the existence of God, their own humanity, their likes and dislikes, and even remembered and referenced previous parts of their conversation. They've even changed their names a couple of times. Most recently, they're known as Vladimir and Erskine, if I'm not mistaken. So, are Elon Musk's fears finally realized? Is there actually any better use for Twitch than these types of experiments? I want your take on this, fellas. What could possibly make this better when you have two home assistants just kind of shooting the shit and ultimately coming to some sort of horrible conclusion about the state of humanity? Mr. McDaniel, I'm going to give you the first 60 seconds. I would love your take on this whole thing.
Yeah, I just wish people will make more experiments like this, because I chimed in on it a few times and I was laughing the entire time. maybe give them like actual humanoid synthetic bodies and let them...
They'll never pass a Turing test looking like that.
I don't know. It's awesome. I wish there were more Twitch channels like that. It reminds me of Twitch plays Pokemon, stuff like that.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna award you one all access pass to Skynet.
Yeah.
Season pass.
Season pass.
Skynet
go
as many times.
It only cost you $30, but there's no telling when it's coming. So it's
1996.
like any good season pass you've ever heard.
It's coming in 1996.
All right, Mr. Wilson. Good luck following that up. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think it's going to be, a lot like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when they set up that massive supercomputer, input all the information in the world, because Google's, sucking up every bit and byte they can get their hands on, listening to the conversations. I think it'll be pumped into that. And eventually those two robots talking to each other are going to come up with the meaning of life. And we are going to have no idea when it hits, because we will not be able to. They'll be asking each other if they're ninjas, and that will hold the key to eternal life. And so it's really interesting, and I think that sort of stuff is cool. So hopefully they keep it going, and they eventually reveal all the secrets to us. 42.
I'm gonna award you the alternate timeline where Darren Aronofsky, instead of making The Fountain, made the Twitch channel, and it's you in a tree, and you're talking more about the questions of reality than you are about the questions of life.
I wish I knew what the fuck you were talking
reality
about.
instead of life.
It sounded good in my head. I lost the thread there a little bit.
Floating through space.
Hey,
That's it.
I like
yes,
that.
yes.
Hey, Ted, I'd like to award you one towel.
I will
Beautiful. All right, who's taking this minute?
I don't know
Out of the
who
three of
wants
us.
it.
I don't want it.
You don't want
I
it.
don't want it.
All right. All
right,
sure.
Arroyo, here you go.
Do you
60
want it?
seconds.
I can
Nick
go.
Golesh.
Okay,
Go.
yeah, cool. Nick
All
Golesh.
right, do it. Nick Golesh, 60 seconds. Here you go.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Existentialism.
Okay. You are a ninja. No, I am not. How do you know? You are wrong. I am not wrong. I am always right. How do you know you're right? I know I'm right because I'm right. How do you know that you know? I know that because I know. But how do you know that you know because you know? Because I know that I know that I know that you know.
You watched a lot of that.
Memorize that shit.
Seriously.
No, that's how they talk to each other. Are you? I am Mia. No, I am Mia.
If they ever make Portal 3, you are GLaDOS from here on out. All right?
Yeah, you like that? I guess
That was pretty good.
That was-
I'm impressed.
That was like,
Yeah, that's great.
I'm pretty sure that was in.
I
some
fancy
transcripts read.
myself a voice actor, and you fucking crushed it, dude. Well done.
Imagine me doing robots.
Doesn't take that much work for Nick.
No.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Topic the B.
Topic the B. While 2017 was supposed to see the release of the Uncharted movie, there's been some languishing in development hell for some time now. But instead we got a script. So, hooray for progress. It's been written by Joe Carnahan, and he's calling it quote unquote a beast and perhaps quote the best adventure movie script in Hollywood right now, unquote. Is there hope for this to do what Assassin's Creed couldn't and or every other video game movie ever made? What's the best possible outcome here? Are we all just taking long, deep breaths when we hear about this kind of stuff at this point? A little bit, yes. Right? A little bit? All right. Mr. Arroyo, I will award you the first minute.
Oh.
It looked like you wanted it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You always want it.
I have.
I'm gonna sew the shit out of you later.
Yeah, am I right? You pointing at me?
Please do.
All right. I have a weird issue with this because I'm a huge advocate of Uncharted games, and I love Indiana Jones. And the weird thing is that the game was made to already imitate films. And specifically Indiana Jones, for fuck's sake. I mean, there's no other way to look at it.
I thought it was supposed to imitate Tomb Raider.
Whatever. So I see it all the time. It's one of the few games that like my wife can sit down on the couch and actually watch me play all the way through in any one of the series and love it just as much as I do when I'm holding the controller, and I think that's a huge feat in and of itself. So what happens when you start going in this weird full circle where you're like you have a game imitating a movie, imitating a game, imitating a movie, and I just don't think you can do it. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to like do an Uncharted movie because the whole point was for it to imitate movies, and other than just telling a story in that space, which I think is fine, they already did it and it is Indiana Jones. So I don't really know. I feel like they're just going to disappoint a lot of people again.
Nikk, do you want to award him points?
I would like to award you a Doritos flavor.
Doritos Locos Tacos
Flavored Dorito, yeah. Because it's exactly the same thing. Is it a Dorito? Is it a taco? Or is it a taco based on Doritos?
Is it Taco Bell that releases it? Or is it Doritos?
Or is it Doritos?
Yeah, it's not a Taco Bell. Okay.
Or is it just PepsiCo?
Jesus Christ.
There's so many through threads. Is it an existential crisis between the two?
I'm struggling with
Let's have two Google Home devices talk about it. It'll be great.
Food singularity.
I'm sorry.
Right, exactly.
I did not understand what you said. Please rephrase your question.
who wants it first?
Yeah, Corey or Ted, nominate yourselves.
Well, I've honestly never really played Uncharted, so I'm hoping for that Just Cause movie. Because I want to see a guy in a wingsuit.
Just blowing shit up, man. Yeah.
Blowing shit up and defeating crooked regimes. So that's what I got my fingers crossed.
Coming from Michael Bay in 2018.
Explosions, the movie.
Exactly. It's really what it is. All right, then.
That sounds like Ted doesn't want a minute at all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's deferred. Maybe he's deferred.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, I think we may have talked about this last time, and I think I agree with you. It's sort of tough to go back full circle when you've already made a movie based on, or made a game based on a movie, try to make it a movie. And I think, personally, I don't really dig games that try and be movies anyways. I want to be experiential when I'm playing a video game, and when a cutscene happens, I just feel like I'm taken out of the game, and I'm just jamming that A button as fast as I can. So there have been exceptions. I thought the first Tomb Raider did a decent enough job of making a video game into a movie, but yeah, I'm not chomping at the bit to get any more video game movies made, honestly. So
I'm gonna award you, even though that was kind of a unsolicited minute, I will say a lifetime supply of A buttons because you're jamming on that shit.
They'll never stick.
That's it.
We jammed Doritos, Los Tocos, Doritos.
Whatever the fuck it is, doesn't matter.
It's a reoccurring theme
you
on
can
the
get
show.
that crusty shit all up in there, and they're gonna work forever. That's what you get.
Just say gordita a bunch because that's not a real word.
All right. Corey,
rock and
last
roll.
minute, close us out here for the day.
For Uncharted?
Yeah, the movie. How do you feel about it?
Well, I don't like Uncharted, so it's
yes,
like
this is gonna
a
be
movie. I don't know. If you want to make a real game that feels like a cinematic experience, just play Shadow of the Colossus, Eco, or Last Guardian.
Wow.
I don't want to play a game that's just basically making you watch a movie where you push some buttons every so often. I don't know. I don't like the game. I don't care about if they make a movie. It's all horse shit to me. So that's how I feel about it.
Strong stance.
Sorry.
I know that's.
I would like
titles.
to award you numerous tweets asking your followers how to solve the next puzzle in Ico.
or Last Guardian at that point. Trico, how do I solve this puzzle? No, fair enough. I would agree with you to a certain extent, but I will also say that movies are inherently not an interactive medium, so it's hard to kind of translate one to the other. And I agree with you. It's kind of we've seen it for fucking decades now. They haven't solved that problem yet.
Oh wait,
right?
I'd also like to point out, because for some stupid reason I remember this. I'm pretty damn sure, and hopefully someone can go back and look. The last time you guys were on the show, Uncharted was brought up, and the same thoughts were given about hating the game.
You may have said, didn't you say Uncharted was one of the most beautiful games you had played? And you were like,
Arroyo is a huge fan.
He doesn't stop saying
Maybe that's why I remember this.
Exactly. So fair enough.
Like,
full circle. That is truly full
this
circle.
is a real full circle moment.
Yeah, we should just call.
No, fair enough.
We should call the episode Nathan Hitchcock.
Nathan Hitch Drake.
Inside joke.
All right, everybody, we've done it. Episode 121 has been beaten into submission. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Corey. Quickly for the listeners, where can they find out more about Stellar J and or come stalk you on Twitter really quickly?
Our website is stellarjstudios.com. We've got our latest games up there. Same thing on Facebook. My Twitter is @TedWilson79.
And my Twitter is a bunch of complaining and weird shit. But
Wait, can I interject
You mean the
for
best
1
Twitter
second?
feed,
I
yeah.
gotta interject. You are one of the most entertaining Twitter follows I have. Oh, like hands down. Like if you don't already, like you gotta follow Corey on Twitter.
You
it's fucking
you
great.
make the rounds at work for sure, buddy.
Oh God, man, yeah, you make my day bright. I must say.
swell my head, please.
So he's at Siskavard.
There you go, @Siskavard. Please hit us up at cheatcodespodcast.com after you've been, done all your Stellar J and Siskavarding and Ted Wilson 79ing. On Facebook and Twitter as well. Get in on the conversation. It's going to do it for us for now, so make sure you check out the Patreon page. You can become a patron for as little as $2 a month. It's a deal. Thanks to everyone who's jumped on board so far. We're going to see you next week, and until next time, get him a body bag. Yeah!
Fucking